Hey team, in this video we're going to talk all about the big D. Yes, discipline. And I'm going to show you how you can become a discipline machine by following my 5 key steps. If you're new to this channel, hi, I'm Lewis Bailey, personal trainer and online coach. And over the last 20 years, I've been helping busy executives and professionals get fit, lean, healthy and strong, all based through my online coaching program, The Fit Body Code. So without further ado, let's get started. So before we get started into the 5 key steps, let me give you a little bit of background of where this has all come from. So over the past, say 20 to 30 years, I've been doing a lot of training in my own background. I have a military background, I was in the army for 7 years as a full-time soldier, and now been in the army the last 5 years as a reservist as well, physical training instructor, and also run my own fitness business as well. So there's been a lot of elements of things that I've had to do within my life that have involved a hell of a lot of discipline. And what I'd like to do is be able to give you some of my experiences and how I've been able to overcome some of those issues during my experiences, but also how I've now formulated these experiences through the research on behavioral change, but then also as well from the experience of my clients and how I've helped them overcome all of their problems, become self-disciplined, and eventually accomplish their goals. So to start with, one of the things that we absolutely know is true is that the more we practice things, the better that we get. And one of the things that I've found over the years is that when I've practiced anything that I want to do within any field, things get easier over time. And so once the discipline hurdle is overcome and you keep repeating certain steps, then you become a lot more disciplined. However, there is a little bit of a dynamic to this here and a double-edged sword, whereby the things that you keep putting off for a long period of time is that you also get better at that. And so when we start to look at the essence of practice, the more that we don't do things, the more that we promise ourselves that we're going to do something and then we don't end up doing it, then the better that we get at doing that. And so eventually what happens then is that we start to then lose the belief in the things that we can actually physically do in the world. And so discipline can then sometimes feel absolutely impossible. It's not because we are weak, but we are very well practiced at not doing the things that we ultimately should be doing to be able to move forwards, because we keep putting it off because of whatever eventuality or pain is involved. And so therefore we just get into an element where we no longer trust ourselves to be able to do hard things. And so the essence of discipline and self-discipline then really is more to do with the trust that you have in yourself and the belief that you can do something by actually physically doing those things. And so sometimes what we need to start looking at doing is being able to do the small things that we are able to do to then generate momentum to be able to move forward onto the next step and then the next step. That then feeds back to us a positive feedback loop that we can now do things, and then we can then continue on and move forwards and move forwards. And in essence, that's what self-discipline is all about. It's that trust in ourselves that we can physically do something difficult. And so that only comes through, practice. So step number 1 then is all about creating that powerful driving force. So if we want to start doing a task which is particularly difficult or something that we just don't want to be able to do, we keep putting it off, and we know that we need to utilize self-discipline, then the first thing that comes before that is going to be the reason why we're doing it. And so there needs to be a really kind of powerful driving force as to why we need to be able to do this thing. So if we need to be able to go for a run, and we just do not want to do that, it's been the end of a very long day and we feel tired and fatigued, and that's the last thing that we want to do, especially if it's cold and raining outside, then that's natural to feel all of those anxieties about actually going to do that. However, the thing that we've got to start looking into is the reason why we're doing it in the first place. And so if you've not created a strong enough goal, or more so, a deep, meaningful reason why you are doing that goal, then once things get difficult, then it becomes hard to be able to utilize that emotion to be able to propel yourself forwards. So what we've got to start to look at doing is, with regards to our goal, is to get that deep emotional reason why we are doing it. And the more that you can connect that both internally and externally, then the more that you can propel yourself forward. And in those tough times, you can lean on that, on those emotions, to be able to help you to take that one step forward in the right direction. And so a quick example of this can be something as similar as looking at how you want to be a role model. And so if you want to be getting into fitness to get into great shape, think about those reasons why, and it could be that you want to impress your kids or those around you, or you just want to be able to show people that you can physically do things, as well as you want to be able to get in great shape. And what's the reason why I want to get in great shape? Is because I want to impress my partner, or I want to attract the partners, whatever that may be. And start going deep into those reasons why. And so the deeper that you go into that and the more that you anchor towards that goal, then it really helps you move forwards towards those disciplined tasks. So before you get started on any journey that you're going to do, and before you have to really kind of put forward into that disciplined steps, make sure that you know the reason why you are doing it. And then when you start to then feel that difficult discomfort before doing something, then you can then understand why you're doing it, link those emotions together, and that will help you take that next step forward. So that's step one, is making sure that you create that deep, meaningful goal and the reasons why behind it. Step two is shifting perspective. So when we start to look at the actual physical task that we need to do, what we always see is the danger, is the anxiety of the big reason why we don't want to do it, and we keep putting things off. And so that's the reason why we have that anxiety or that reluctance to want to do something, is purely because of what we identify and we see as the issue with that discipline step. However, what we need to do is flip that perspective and start to look at things in a slightly different way. So if I give you my example of when I used to go running first thing in the morning, the difficult thing to do was to be able to get up out of bed in the UK when it's pitch black and freezing cold and absolutely bouncing down outside, rain. Then the difficult thing to be able to do is get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go running. And so what I would start to do is to really struggle with just trying to get out of bed and to motivate myself to be able to do that. I could do it for about a week, but after that it soon kind of fell down from there. And so this is where then discipline then sort of really kicks in. But there has to be a shift in terms of the way that I actually think about each of those steps that I need to do. And so what I slowly started to realize I could do was to start to think about the benefits of what I'd be getting out of doing those discipline steps of going for that run. And so I started to then see, okay, what's the opportunity? Okay, what can I get out of going for this run now this morning? And what I found was there was an abundance of opportunity. First of all, I could start to utilize the actual steps of doing something that was difficult first thing in the morning and posting it on social media. You know, that way then my clients would see it, would motivate my clients. It would also, help other people see it on social media, which then may attract people towards me over time when people could see me doing all of these different things outside in the day-to-day world. And so I could then get some benefit from actually physically doing that. Then there was obviously the benefit of improving my cardiovascular fitness and developing my VO2 max and really kind of starting to move forwards by increasing my energy levels because of all of the things that we're going to get from a cardiovascular benefit point of view. So there was all of those things that were from that as well. But then there was the feeling that I would get after finishing the 10K, the feeling of the accomplishment. Not only just the actual run itself, but being able to get myself out of bed and run down the roads when there's only like 1 or 2 people around that time in the morning and do something really difficult. And so the more that I would keep on doing that, the more smug that I actually felt by actually doing it, thinking, I'm miles ahead of people here. I'm getting the winning advantage. And so there was a whole load of opportunity from actually doing those things that really helped kind of make me take that one step forward first thing in the morning. And so that was the perspective shift. It wasn't then starting to look at how horrible the weather was outside and the difficulty of actually getting out of bed to be able to go and run that 10K in that weather. It was more looking at, okay, what's the opportunity here? What am I going to get out of this? And then getting all of those benefits that I've just mentioned to you there from that opportunity and seeing that, which then helps with then building that excitement to be able to move forward. And so instead of looking at all of the negative and looking at the beast of the dragon that you've now got to go and fight, look at it differently and look at all of the benefits that are going to be there for you, what you're going to get by conquering that dragon and actually fighting it in the first place. And so look for the gold, look for the opportunity, and then utilize that to be able to help you to propel forward. And so that there is how you can change your perspective to look at things in a different way in order to help you then do that disciplined task. Step 3 is chunking it down. So instead of looking at the whole of the big task that we've got to do in front of us, start to look at the small steps that we need to do one step at a time. So instead of thinking about things to say, oh God, I've got to do all of these things now to be able to accomplish whatever it is that I need to be able to do, just break it all down into tiny, small steps, and that's it. And so look at each step then and just focus on that one next thing. And by doing this, what it will then change is, rather than looking at this big scary beast that you've now got to fight, that scary beast now just turns into a fluffy bunny rabbit. So sticking with the running analogy here, and from my experience, instead of me thinking about I've got to get all of my stuff on, I'm going to go running in this rain, it's going to be cold, it's going to be wet, it's going to be windy, it's dark, I'm tired, I don't want to get out of bed, my muscles are aching already from yesterday. Instead of thinking of all of those things, then just think of that next simple step. And so what I used to then do was to look at this to say, what do I need to do next? Okay, is just get up out of bed, go and put some cold water on your face and go and put the coffee on. That's all you need to do. Okay, so I would literally just drag myself out of bed and then go into the bathroom, put the cold water all over the face, and that would then slowly start to change my state. And that's all I needed to do. Then I go and put the coffee on. While the coffee was then brewing, I'd then just do a couple of little bit of stretches and a little bit of mobility work. And what that first step done was, it helped me move into a better state. Okay, so rather than making a decision when I'm at my worst state, when I'm just broken and feeble, like trying to wake up first thing in the morning, is to say, well, don't make any decisions, just do step one. And so by doing that step one, I was then in a better state. And I thought, right, okay, don't make any decisions yet, just do those first few things now, and that's all you need to do. And then, so once I'd then done that, and then I then started drinking the coffee, the next step then was to just say, okay, well, let's just get your stuff on. And so I just put me running stuff on, put the jacket on, put the woolly hat on and the gloves, and then I was just like good to go. And so then the next step was, okay, do a few more stretches, do some press ups, really start to kind of stimulate the blood there, just get yourself up and get yourself excited and get ready to go. And then once I then done that, I was in such a better state then to make a better decision. And obviously when you're in that position then, you've got all your stuff on, heart rate's pumping, you've warmed up, you're loosened off, and you're good to go. Your state then is that, yeah, let's go and do it. Let's go and seize the opportunity of what I'm going to get from all of this now. And so by breaking everything down into those tiny steps, that's all you need to do. Okay, yeah, so turn that dragon into a bunny rabbit just by breaking everything right the way down, and just focus on that next step. That's all you need to do. Number 4 is celebrating each little win, each little victory. And so even if you're doing this on a micro level, whereby I've just given you the analogy there of me from running, from my experience. And so even if you're just going to do it in that way, whereby at each step that you take, just by getting up, doing a couple of stretches, putting some cold water in the face, for me, the celebration was putting the coffee on, putting that coffee on, and that was like a nice little reward that I'd got myself out of bed. I'd actually put the cold water all over me, and I started moving around and doing a couple of stretches, and then I got the coffee there, and there's my reward. And then what that would then do then is just to stimulate me then, and to make me feel that little bit better. And so it was a little bit of victory, only a tiny bit of victory. And then it was like, okay, well then what I'm going to do next, and then do the next step, and again just give myself a little small pat on the back for whatever that was. And so what you'll then find is that you'll start to see the joy in each thing then that you do. And then as you then start to do that, then that starts to really help you feel better about the things that you are doing moving forward. You then start to connect a lot of positivity by doing each step, one step at a time, and it just helps you then to keep on moving forward. And remember, the more that you practice and the more that you do things, what you're actually doing is feeding back to yourself that you can do hard things. And so by rewarding yourself each time, it generates that positivity in you that makes you feel better and go, okay, so let's now move on to the next step, because there's something there, there's a reward there for me by doing that step. And so that's a great way to be able to help you really move through those gears. Now this works a lot better on more of a macro level. So rather than thinking about, just each step to be able to do a run, this might be, what do we need to do across the whole of a training week? I have all of my workouts there, and then you've got to then break it down day by day. And so that's where it can then look at, you've got to go right the way through the day. You've got obviously a busy day with work, taking care of kids, if you've got kids, it might be obviously your other responsibilities that you've got within your world, as well as all the demands of a busy career or business. And so all of those things come into play. And so if you can get through all of that, and then you get through your training workouts as well, you manage to do all of that, you've kept the diet nice and tight, and you've got through to the end of the day, then that's time for you to put your feet up, relax, you know, watch a series on Netflix or whatever it may be and just completely down time, down the tools, and just give yourself that reward for getting through everything that you've done in that day. And so that's how you can use it both on a micro level and on a macro level as well. So just breaking down those steps there and then rewarding yourself will really, really help you in terms of moving forward with regards to your goals by employing that little strategy there. So make sure that you get onto that, because that's an incredibly effective one to be able to utilize. Step 5, and this is the final one, is to look at this now from a perspective of repeatable practice. And the more that you keep on repeating this, then the more confidence that you will build within yourself. What then happens is that when you start to realize and believe that you can do more difficult things, you then start to feed back that you are the kind of person that can do hard things, which then forms and shapes your identity. So discipline becomes more relevant when your actually identified becomes stronger, because what you'll find here is that when your identity isn't as strong and you're not as capable, then you'll find that discipline is incredibly tough to be able to do because of those reasons. But then once you've practiced more and you've practiced again and again and again, that then starts to really shape and form your identity of doing hard things, which then makes discipline actually a lot easier. Now, when your identity is shaped and you are this disciplined monster, which will happen if you keep on practicing all the time, then what you'll then find is that you will still have days when you have to utilize discipline. You'll have days when you're tired, when you're fatigued, and it's just difficult to do. However, the difference being now is because that you have shaped that identity, it just becomes a thing that you do. As that new identity, as that stronger person, doing those things just becomes the thing that you just do. And so for me, when I was running through the winters, what I would just say to myself is that I'm just a runner, you know, and this is what runners do. You know? So there's no question whether it's raining, snowing outside, whether it's dark, it doesn't matter. If I need to do these runs, the runs get done because that's just what I do. And so what then starts to happen then is the difference between then your feelings of not wanting to and whether you want to do it or you don't want to do it, it just gets done. Because that's what you do. That's a part of your identity now. You know, if you've been going to the gym for a long period of time, you're a gym bunny, you will know what it feels like is that going to the gym is just what you do. You know, it's more of a place that you go to where you feel comfortable in and it just gets done. And so even when you don't feel like going there on those days, you just still go, okay? Because it's just a part of you. And if you don't, then it feels strange, okay? You'll feel an uncomfortableness about, if I can say it, you'll feel uncomfortable about those feelings there with not going to the gym. It will feel wrong by not going to the gym. It'll feel wrong by not going for the run if you're a runner. And so what then starts to happen is the identity element to it becomes more visceral. A lot of the things that you do in your day-to-day become more habitual because this is just built in now to the deep elements of your brain. And so when you start to really dig into this now, is that it's more becomes a reaction thing that you just do these things, okay? It's the reaction of getting up, putting your stuff on and away you go. So a lot of the time you don't even think, you just do. So this is where kind of if things can go wrong with regards to self-discipline. People just say, oh, you should just be disciplined and give it the whole rah-rah David Goggins thing, okay? So David Goggins, great guy. However, a few things kind of are missing there in terms of how we can actually employ discipline itself. And so like I say, is that the more that you practice, then the better that you get. The better that you get, the more then you start to then reinforce that identity that can do difficult things. The stronger that identity becomes over time, then the more that you just believe in yourself and you can just continue on to do those things. Doesn't matter what it is that you're doing, this is just what I do, okay, yeah. And so discipline isn't required as much. There isn't as much willpower there anymore because you've shaped now that identity, but that only happens by deliberate practice. So get going and get practicing. Now, I hope you found that video useful. Please give it a go and let me know in the comments if you've tried some of these and it works well for you, or even if it doesn't, you know. So feel free just to send me some feedback and let me know if it really helps you or not. To give you an idea of what I do with inside the Fit Body Code, these are the kind of things that I move into with every single client that comes on board. And so I will assess you in a number of key areas in regards to your mindset, your fitness, your functional strength, looking at your nutrition and your lifestyle. And so we go through all of those pillars there of the Fit Body Code and look to see where you are strong and where you are weak. And then from those points there, what I will then do is help you move through there and coach you through all those areas that need to be worked on in order for you to be able to accomplish your goals and transform your body. So that's what the Fit Body Code is all about. It's me to be able to help you, to coach you through by going through all those things such as discipline steps and how you can improve all of that, your motivation, putting all of that together to help you transform your body. So if that sounds like a good thing to you, then simply just click on the links below, go to my website, you can have a look at the details there, and then we can arrange a call for you where we can sit down, go through what it is that you want to accomplish, and then help you form a roadmap to be able to get there. I'll bring you into the Fit Body Code community. Until next time, see you soon.